What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to episode number 92 of the Mets'd podcast presented by the 7 Line. Little less happy about this one. We lost our first series of the year. We lost our first series of the year to the Mariners. It was an excruciating series. It was annoying. Every game was separated by like a run or two.
One run every game.
Just one run. It was really, really close. The Mariners are annoying, and I don't want to play them the rest of the year. I've had enough of the Seattle Mariners. This is a pesky ball club. And there was a lot that happened. I mean, game 1 was close. Game 2 was close. Game 3 was close. This series, unlike the last one against the Nationals, there's a lot to talk about here. So we're going to go deep into every single game of this series, tell you about everything that's happening, our thoughts, our analysis, everything that we can talk about, we will. So if you guys are enjoying what you hear, what you see, what you listen to, make sure you're following us on all our social media at Mets'd. You'll be able to find us on Twitter and Instagram, Mets'd Podcast. You can find us on YouTube for the video version of the podcast. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen, you will be able to find us. Drop us a rating, drop us a review. It really does help us out. And let's bring in James, even though you had an earlier comment than you normally do. But hey, welcome.
Yeah, I guess I did. Welcome. No, I am glad to say welcome. Yeah, I guess I did, but glad to be here. Glad for you to include me in this early segment of the show.
Yeah, of course. It's nice to get you hot and ready, start talking about some Mets baseball. I know me and you were going back and forth on a lot of things the last few days text-wise. So you guys are going to hear, I think, maybe one of the first arguments on the podcast where me and James have very, very differing opinions, but we'll save that for a little bit later.
I mean, are we going to save it for later? Where do you want to start?
Well, I guess, you know what? You're right. We haven't done this in a while because the Mets really haven't had anything of contention, but I guess we'll just start off with game 3, right? The last game, since you guys are going to be listening to this on Monday morning. Let's talk about Sunday's day game going up against Robbie Ray, and we had Carlos Carrasco on the mound.
Yeah, this was just kind of one of those games I feel like that us Mets fans were kind of ready for a little while. I'm at least like the first 90% of it until the end, because this game was kind of like 3 games into one. But I think everyone's been a little bit collectively afraid that another Carrasco bad game was coming. I love Carrasco. I talk about Carrasco a lot in the show, but he's not an ace. He's a 3-starter. Sometimes 3-stars get hit hard. And the offense has also been kind of meh. And you saw a guy like Robbie Ray in the mound who was really high upside, and he's a lefty, and the Mets have struggled a little bit with lefties this year. It just kind of felt like one of those games that when you looked at it on the schedule, you didn't get a good feeling about it.
Yeah. And going into the series, this is the one, too, that I remember you saying, like, this is probably the one where we, just don't really match up well against the Mariners here. And it wasn't that Carrasco necessarily pitched bad either. I don't think he just kind of wasn't as sharp as we've seen him this year. And, if he was our 4 or 5 starter right now, or if we didn't need length out of him because, of course, Tylor Megill hitting the IL means that tomorrow's going to be a bullpen game, I think we would have been a little bit more okay with it, but because there was almost more pressure on Carrasco to pitch better this game and pitch deeper into the game like he has been, it was a little disappointing that he just kind of wasn't that sharp.
It also kind of compounded the problem because this is something I mentioned about even that Megill start from Washington, where the Mets did jump out to an early lead after a very big game on Saturday with a very loud Francisco Lindor home run to the second deck in left field, which happens very rarely in Citi Field. Crushed that ball. Made it 6 of 7 Mets games where they scored the run in the first inning. And it was after Carrasco had a clean first inning, which is kind of hilarious. Now he just has super clean first innings, and then the problems come later on, rather than the whole opposite of what was going on last year with him. But you hate jumping out to a lead early like that and letting a team just to get back and back and back and back on you. And that's what the Mariners did all day on Sunday.
Yeah, they're annoying. They're super, super annoying because it felt like all series they were kind of blooping a little bit and not really having the craziest hard hit balls. This game, I think they had something like 16 or 18 hits, I think, in game 3, which is absolutely insane. 8 of those came against Carlos Carrasco. And a lot of the hits were hit pretty hard. I mean, I know he didn't necessarily give up the absolute nuke to Julio Rodriguez that we saw later in the game, but the Mariners...
Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, and Cal Raleigh, too. I forgot about his. Oh, Cal Raleigh, Jesus. That's horrible. Whatever. I mean, it wasn't his fault why we lost this game by any means. He didn't help the Mets try and win, but he wasn't the reason for the Mets to lose, I don't think.
No, but again, like you said, he really wasn't that sharp. And this is kind of like the modern Carrasco, where he's going to kind of teeter this line between, pitching 8 innings and giving up no runs and, 5 strikeouts, or pitching 4 innings, giving up 5 runs and, 4 strikeouts. Those are not... It's going to sound kind of insane, but just based on that, the Mariners didn't even have that many hard hit balls today. And it was just kind of the succession of hits rather than getting into and out of trouble. Those 2 types of starts aren't really that different for Carrasco. And you kind of can see that in the way that his pitch mix has developed this year, that he is someone who is walking a line. I made a botch in the last episode talking about Carrasco's pitch mix from his last 2 starts. I said they were both fastball changeup, but Nick Pollock, we were hanging out with him yesterday from Pitcher List. And Friday. He told me this Friday. We hung out with him 2 days in a row, which is That's
It's a lot of Nick Pollock.
It's a lot of Nick. It's a lot of Nick. A lot of Nick in our lives. But 2 starts ago, that Atlanta start was all fastball slider. Last week, the Washington start was all fastball changeup. This start again was very heavy fastball changeup. A little less of a 2-pitch mix in those last 2 starts. Those were both about 80% between 2 pitches. This one was only 68% between those 2, and he still mixed in his sinker, slider, and curveball. But he just very clearly still doesn't have a feel for that slider since that start 2 times ago. And he got a couple whiffs with the curveball, but he didn't throw it very consistently. And the sinker just, I don't know. I don't really know. Carrasco breaks out sinker sometimes he doesn't. I don't really understand it that well, but it seems like he's not really getting enough of a feel for those breaking balls right now to be able to throw all of his pitches and pitch to his fullest potential.
I mean, me and you, I think from the beginning of the year, since we got Carlos Carrasco, knew this guy wasn't going to be an ace. He was never brought here to be an ace. He, on the outside looking in from a very basic level of looking at stats, you probably thought Carrasco was like, oh, this guy's looking pretty good. This is our 3 starter, huh? This is our guy or our 4 starter. Man, he might be an ace on some teams. I'm sure people will throw around that saying, but we knew he's not an ace. We've been trying to tell everyone that he's not like that. We still very much think he's a very good pitcher. But like you said, these starts are going to happen for a guy like Carlos Carrasco.
Especially against a team like the Mariners. I'm not going to say a very good hitting team, but they're a team of professional hitters. Down the order, you're not really scared of anybody, but there's also not really that many soft spots. So you get the bottom of the order, like Steven Souza and Cal Raleigh. Usually that's a soft spot, but again, Cal Raleigh hit a ridiculous home run today. But it's just they were kind of in the mix every single at bat. And when you're only mixing basically fastballs and changeups, it's going to be kind of hard to fool these major league caliber hitters consistently. You can get away with that at the Nationals, of course. There's 3 major league hitters in that lineup, 3.5, I guess, with Cesar Hernandez declining, but not against this Mariners team, and not really against many of the other teams. This is going to be a work in progress with Carrasco, and with Tylor Megill's injury, if it winds up being something that keeps him out for even 3 or 4 weeks, he's going to be a much more important part of this rotation.
Yeah, Tylor Megill, just in case, again, you guys didn't know, he's on the IL, right bicep inflammation. His Mom Megill, came out and said he's going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. So I trust the mother of the pitcher. I'm sure she knows exactly what's going on. We trust Julie Megill.
I'm a Megill, yeah. It was so funny that she tweeted that out today. People were just tweeting about Tylor Megill a lot because it was scary. Also because the Mets said he was on the IL, then deleted the tweet, and then said it again 4 minutes later. So I was like, shit, what's going on here? This is not that cool. So there was a lot of just buzz on social media before the game. Also, that nice half hour before the Sunday games. And really, I kind of like the 1:40 start. You kind of ease into Sunday rather than the quick 1 o'clock. It's a little nice of a buffer, especially after the late game yesterday. But it's just funny having a mom of a baseball player, addressing an injury on social media.
She's a very vital part of
before the MRI.
Yeah, very vital part of the Mets community on Twitter right now. She's very vocal, and we love it. Now, we did mention Carrasco gave up those 4 runs. The Mets did, after going up early, go down early. And something that this team's done really well all year long is they do answer back. And right after Carrasco did give up those runs, we had a nice rally where Nimmo, J.D. Davis both hit 2-run triples in the same inning, which Gary on the broadcast said is the first time in Mets history they've had 2 2-run triples in the same inning.
Wow, that's pretty good. This is a big triple day for the Mets. I think 3 triples today.
Big triple series. Marte had a triple in game 2. There was just triples going all around. It was nice to see JD get that hit. He was pumped. He was super excited. I know you were listening to the game on the radio, James.
But they said that he was really pumped up. They also said Nimmo showed as much emotion as he's basically ever showed after a hit.
Nimmo gave almost forgot that he was on base and that the ball was in play. And Joey Core's like, get back on the bag, dude. Can't just hang around off there.
Well, Canada did that after his stolen base in the 4th inning. Where he made it easily, I think, in a hit and run that was kind of botched, but he also overslid the base and got tagged out.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I like seeing JD Davis swing the bat more.
I also misspoke. Mets didn't hit 3 triples today. Those are the only 2 triples. I think Abraham Toro hit a 3rd triple.
Eduardo Escobar hit a triple too.
I forgot about the Escobar triple. So 4 triples in this game, 3 by the Mets.
Yeah, 3 by the Mets. At least the Mariners could have had another one. I honestly don't remember. I don't think they did. I think
Toro definitely did for sure.
Yeah, I'm happy to see JD swinging the bat better. I know today, again, it wasn't the outcomes that you always want, but even the last few games, he's just been hitting the ball really, really hard. And I think the answer or the question has been answered. He has to be in the line swinging the bat more. Definitely makes the lineup better, and especially with how we saw Dom Smith play this series and his limited appearances, JD's got to be the answer at DH. He just offers so much more at the plate.
Yeah, definitely. JD had 2 more hard hit balls today. He had, I think, 4 today, Sunday. JD had 2 more hard hit balls on Sunday. I think he had 4, at least 3 on Saturday night. And it's very clear that he's making the most productive contact in this team consistently. And it's kind of ironic that the triple he did hit today was kind of one of the softer balls he's put in play, it feels like, in a while. And Howie and Wayne, as they like to poke fun at exit velocity, were like, oh, hey, maybe he should start hitting the ball more softly. And I was like, maybe not, but So the premise is there. It's just he's very clearly one of the better bats, at least from a power perspective, on this team right now. And I think it would benefit the Mets a lot to get his bat in the lineup at least 4 days a week at this point, if not 5.
Definitely, especially with Escobar struggling, who's not really deserving more at-bats right now. I mean, on the month of May, he's hitting, I think, like 120 with like a 367 or 387 OPS. Small sample again. It's like the numbers don't technically like stabilize, but
No,
you can just tell by watching him play. Something's off. Something's broken right now. He's not probably as good of a player as we once saw, like early in the year, where we're like, ooh, Eddie Escobar's like, this guy's a beast. He's also not as bad as this, but he does need to snap out of it right now. And it's just, he's been a little bit of a hole in this lineup, although he did get that late triple. Anyway, moving past this rally of an inning, we had Chasen Shreve come in, who came in for Carrasco, got a tough out, and then they left him
tough
in.
outs.
Yeah, you got Jesse Winker, he was throwing a lot of sliders too. They were talking about that. Like, that's like 3 sliders in a row. He never does that. Got the big out after Winker hit the home run against him in game 2, which we'll talk about. But he came out for the 6th inning to face J-Rod, who is just known to crush left-handed pitching at every level of every professional baseball skill.
And J-Rod, just watching him from this series, like it's very clear he's immensely talented, and I was pretty happy to be able to get up close, look at him for a few days. But it's also very clear that he is struggling, and I don't know if this is something that could be borne out by stats over the whole season here, but it seems like the veteran pitchers were really able to take advantage of him while he kind of preyed on the relievers.
Well, that you want to know why that makes sense though too, is because I mean, right now, like Julio, he's playing really well. So he's actually like starting to look like a major league player performance-wise, at least for the Mariners. But you got to think a lot of those relievers are basically 4A players a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And for a guy like Julio, who dominates at every single level except the major league level right now, that's probably why he's having more success against those guys.
For sure. But even in a game where Carrasco didn't have it, you saw him kind of just keep J-Rod very off balance a couple times. I saw Scherzer just kind of dice him up on Friday night, which we'll talk about again later. But this just to also refresh listeners, the 3-batter rule applies when you're facing 3 batters in a single inning. The second that a pitcher completes an inning, it doesn't matter if they face 1 batter or 2 batters, or technically it's like 0 batters. If there was like, say, a pickoff or a caught stealing or something like that. Once an inning ends, a 3-batter rule becomes completely null, and you no longer have to face a 3rd batter if you leave the game. If you have faced 1 batter or technically against 0 batters, actually, I don't even know what the ruling is. If like it's a pickoff or a caught stealing, was that like a 0th batter? Or does that count as 1 batter?
I don't know. I don't know either statistically, but you can come out of the game still.
True, but then if you do come back in, like let's say you face 1 batter, got a strikeout to end the inning, which Shreve got 2 outs to end the 5th inning. Let's say you only got 1. Let's say you only got the Winker out, and then the inning was over. And if he did come out, he would have to face 2 more batters. But again, if you just get a 3rd out in an inning, the 3-batter rule does not apply to you. So there's no reason that a lefty who was coming off his first rough performance of the year in Chasen Shreve should have needed to go through an up down and face a righty who crushes lefties. And there were a lot of people on Twitter, I tweeted about this, saying that like, you know, Buck is just looking ahead. We have a bullpen day tomorrow again with Trevor Williams and Tylor Megill injury, like we said a few times, but you got to focus on the game that you're playing, especially a game that is very close late in the innings. Like I would understand that if the Mets were already down 3 to maybe be like, I can like think about punting this game and leave Shreve in, see if you get lucky. But that was not the case here. I believe the game was tied.
Yeah, no, I by no means am I going to make a direct comparison of like the Zach Britton thing that went on in Baltimore, but we are seeing right now that Buck definitely has trouble handling a bullpen right now. We've said this many, many times now throughout the season, despite the Mets being 23-13 at the time of recording, there have been a lot of questions with how the bullpen has been handled. And one of the major things is these up downs and trying to get guys to get more outs than they're really capable of or should be trying to do.
Yeah, not that Shreve isn't capable of that. He has gone multiple innings at times this year, but it's just the idea that there is a scary right-handed hitter staring you in the face. And it's not like, and the Mets are, again, they've just shortened pitching with no starting pitcher really ready for tomorrow today, besides Trevor Williams. But there's still a lot of bodies in this bullpen. Like you saw Colin Holderman, you still Adonis Medina. Jake Reed just came out. He has options. Like you could throw guys out there tomorrow. Worst comes to worst, just ride.
Medina's not up, I don't think, right now. I think
he went back down.
Yeah, I think Jake Reed has the spot of Medina. But this is what's a little bit frustrating too, is that if Jake, like, I'm not vouching for Jake Reed over Chasen Shreve, but I think the idea is the same, is that if we're going to use that last spot in the bullpen for Jake Reed, he has to be used at some point. What are we saving him for when we're getting like shelled in a game, which, I mean, he could be saved for tomorrow because, again, the Trevor Williams game. But I hate when you kind of look ahead and try to think about the next game instead of focusing on this one. And that's what it felt like. It also kills us. It kills this bullpen that Seth Lugo cannot go 2 days in a row. Kills this Mets bullpen because if you pitch him today for a second day in a row, for sure he's not pitching tomorrow. And he might need to pitch tomorrow, again, with everything that's going on. It's really frustrating because it seemed like Buck was like, well, if I can get Chasen through the 6th, I have Drew for the 7th, I have Joely for the 8th when he's going to have to face Winker and those guys, and then I have Diaz for the 9th. And it seemed like he was trying his hardest to stick to that plan as much as physically possible, and it bit us in the ass because, again, Chasen Shreve should not be facing Julio Rodriguez. And it was to get what, like Mike Ford was next? Like, are we really saying we prioritize Mike Ford at the plate more than Julio Rodriguez, who we know is a better baseball player?
Yeah, especially also when the lefty-righty thing with Julio seems to be a big deal. No stats, again, will bear that out right now, but it's very clear watching him play baseball. He's much more comfortable against like a soft-throwing lefty who's not exactly wily. Maybe Chasen Shreve is wily, but just not the most experienced. And you're just trying to thread the needle. I mean, you can't try to thread the needle too much. You just there's not a lot of margin for error there. And that did bite the Mets in the ass. Of course, it got significantly worse after this. And this game did feel like it immediately got out of reach because our guy Drew Chains, another not so great outing for him, which pains me so much to say, gave up, like we said before, a loud home run to Cal Raleigh. Just an absolutely smashed baseball.
Cal Raleigh, who has he was 2 or 3 for 31, I think, on the year. Not known for his bat. I don't really know what Cal Raleigh is known for. Now he's known
for his bat. Like, he had a good bat in the minor leagues. He was drafted as a bat. Okay. He just hasn't come through at the major league level yet.
Yeah, and now you know all about this home run that he absolutely crushed. Mariners just had Drew Chain's number. Again, we'll talk about it when we go over the earlier games, but Drew finally looked human this series, and this was just added on top of it. And then the Mets bats were pretty much dead. Like, once that kind of happened, I don't want to say like they laid down because like the Mariners bullpen's actually pretty good, but they weren't having good quality at bats. It felt like they had some chances here and there to make something happen and couldn't come through, which we've seen time and time again with this Mets lineup. It'll happen. But I really think if we're going to talk about, at what happened after this, we got to jump right to Paul Sewald, who you're a Paul Sewald guy. You like him.
I think he's a good pitcher. I've always thought he was a good pitcher.
You can't say you always thought he was a good pitcher.
I mean, like, since he's been good now his last year and a half. With the Mets, I thought he had like secret potential that was never going to be borne out. Like, I always just thought he had a good slider.
That's fair. Okay. As long as we clarify that.
I didn't always think he was a good pitcher. When he was a Met, he was not a good pitcher, but I always thought he had a chance to be a good pitcher.
He was horrible with the Mets. That guy stunk. He was terrible. 5.5 ERA, 1.36 whip for his career. He was horrible. He's been really good, as you said, the last few years, including this one. He's been pretty lights out. I think we can all agree to that.
Since he came back to the Mariners last year, he has been one of the better relievers in baseball. He's at least like a top 25% reliever in baseball, if not a little bit better than that. Between stuff, between strikeouts, between swings and misses, he's top of the line in all of those things. Paul Sewald is a bona fide good reliever. The other side of this is that he seems to have taken the way that Mets fans treated him personally over the last, I guess this is something that going way back to when he was a Met, just because I remember distinctly that Paul Sewald used to be booed very often. I remember that I'm assuming that with booing from New York sports fans, any sports fans, that Paul Sewald dealt with probably a barrage of hate on social media between things we tweeted at him, things in his DMs. So it seems like this is something that kind of motivated him a little bit extra for the series against the Mets. Something that got swept under the rug with the Jared Kelenic demotion before Friday's game, and Edwin Diaz facing his former team, was Paul Sewald also facing his former team. And he had a lot of things to say about Mets fans during the series. And after a clean inning on Friday, and then after another clean inning on Sunday, he asked the Mets fans, like Hulk Hogan, "I can't hear you." And that seemed to rub a lot of Mets fans, including you, very much the wrong way.
So, his comments that he made after Friday night's appearance was, they gave up on me, and they, meaning the Mets. It's pretty nice to get a little revenge today. Most importantly, we got to win. I think that's fine.
That's but also not untrue.
But also, like, that they gave up on me, it's not like you can blame them.
True. It's not like you can blame them, but think about it.
He was bad. Nobody wanted this guy.
Think about someone did want him because someone did pick him up. So clearly someone wanted him.
But that was also in the weird point of where the Mariners were like, we'll try anybody who's been playing for the New York Mets.
And it worked. Again,
I don't want to say the Mariners wanted him.
Like, don't you think that if this was Daniel Zamora, it would have been significantly worse? Like, he would have been like jumping up and down. He would have stood up on the dugout and like got one of these. Like that was just his wife actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say his wife's kind of loud, but I don't know much about Daniel Zamora going out. It bothered me that. Okay, so let me finish on what he said. He said it was 18 months coming. They got rid of me. I was hoping I could get up here and pitch against them. It's pretty nice to do well and help our team get the win. Those comments, I don't have a problem with those comments. And like, in all honesty, he can do whatever he wants, this and that. I just think he's a lame-o. I think he's a hardo. I think he's a rat fuck now. He's in that grouping for me.
He's not there for me.
I see. Yeah, but you're a Sewald sympathizer. You love this guy because he's good now.
No, but the thing is that like a comment like Paul Sewald makes, like they gave up on me. It's not untrue at all. Like the Mets did give up on him, whether you think it's warranted or not.
No,
sure,
but the comment he made doesn't bother me. It's more of the actions of like, dude, first off, you were so horrible. You were so bad. You deserved to get booed. You deserved to get given up on 100%. You shouldn't have been on a major league roster. And then to go out and do this thing, like after he pitched well. He pitched well in the series. He shoved it to us 1000%. Won't deny it. Salty Mets fan? Probably because he fucking beat us. But I don't care. This guy's a rat. He did this. He's so relevant. No one fucking cared. No one booed him when he did this on the field. Jesse Winker at least gets booed and plays it up and has a little fun and is like a really, really good hitter. I know he's struggling this year, but Jesse Winker at least has some fun with it and plays the villain well. Paul Sewald, you're irrelevant. Like, for Paul Sewald to do this and think he matters, granted, he got me talking about it, so maybe he does.
Yeah. You're like literally going against all of your point by just having this diatribe.
But like, oh my God, what a fucking loser. The whole like, he sucks so bad. He sucks so bad. So to be like, are you going to boo me now? Well, if you pitched like this, we would have never fucking booed you. But you stunk, so we did, because you were terrible. That's what bothers me, is that if you pitched like this, no, we wouldn't have booed you. But you didn't, because you were shit.
But this is like what kind of comes from being a competitor and being a professional athlete. The guy who was probably sick his entire life until the day he put on a Mets jersey and then was only bad then and then now has been good again the second he took it off. Like, that's kind of crazy for him to think about. Like, I would in my head be like, this team kind of fucked me. These are the people who failed me. And also, that's why I want to keep harping on this phrase, like, they gave up on me. Like, he has to believe that. Like, if you're an athlete, if there's any, like, 5% extra motivation you can get, anything to give yourself an edge, you should take it because you're competing against the best people in the world at what you're doing. So for him to, like, kind of harp on this and play it up, sure, he's doing it in a little bit of a douchey way, and sure that it's kind of a little lame that you're, like, chastising fans of another team after the way they've treated you. Even though I think Mets fans can remember a situation last year where this came up and it was also kind of interesting like this.
Not the same.
I think they're a little bit similar. I think it's a little bit similar. I see a guy like Paul Sewald just like digging deep for motivation. Like if this happened to a different team, like it would be a total non-story if a middle reliever was.
But I think that's the whole point, though.
Yeah, because you can goat Mets fans because Mets fans will take anything that anybody ever gives them. Mets fans are dying for a reason to jump on top of a soapbox and see how much they hate somebody. Me and you included, of course. But I don't think that Paul Sewald, those comments make him a rat fuck for me. He's never like, I don't know. He's just this. He plays in the AL West. We're not going to. Lord knows next time we're going to face Paul Sewald in the game. Like the rat fucks are reserved for guys who we face regularly and do bad things to us. Paul Sewald just beat us. He was just better this series than the Mets hitters.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little bit of both. I'm saying he's irrelevant and then talking about him, but then you're also saying he's irrelevant and caring about what everyone else has to say about him. So it's like, I think there's give and take on both sides.
I don't think he's caring what other people have to say. I think he cared what people had to say, and now he's just like he said. He honestly admitted he's like, I'm happy to get a little bit of revenge. Like Paul Sewald probably got minimum 1,000 people in his DMs during his tenure with the Mets saying like, I hope you die, F you, F your family, F your wife, F your mother, F your kids. Like people probably said horrible, disgusting things.
Oh, for sure. And that's not
every single day for years. So if I saw that, like, even though that's probably not the way, maybe it's not the way I am usually, because Paul Sewald actually does seem to be kind of a cool, nice guy. Like his social media presence is cool. He does like cool work with people on Twitter and stuff. It just seems like a guy who's digging deep and also a guy who did probably deal with actual verbal abuse for years, like in his DMs, like I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just he fucking rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, you fucking suck so bad, and then to see you pitch well, and then to have confidence. Yeah. Paul Sewald had zero confidence when he pitched for the Mets. If he even had a half of the confidence that he has right now, he probably would have maybe not had a 5.5 ERA and gotten shelled every time he went out there. But it's like it's frustrating to see him pitch well because he was so fucking bad. And then to be confident, and then to do this thing, and not even get booed. He didn't even get what he wanted.
He got booed a little bit on Friday. We were both there. He got booed a little bit. There was some boos. Yeah. There was some definite boos.
Yeah, fucking Paul Sewald. God damn it. Dude, and you know what? I was so excited when they were coming back too, because I was like, fuck Paul Sewald. I'm tweeting out every time he gives up a nuke this year. I don't give a shit. I'm officially riding the Paul Sewald hate wagon. I don't care what it is.
It's also because we had a bet going from the preseason that I'm going to share right now. I'm going to win against you because of the Paul Sewald bet. Mark and I bet who would have a higher strikeout rate between Giovanni Gallegos and Paul Sewald. And Paul Sewald's out to an incredibly large early lead. So
and the Mets fucking helped him too.
Yeah, exactly. It helped him a lot. He's just a pretty good reliever. And again, I am sympathizing with Paul Sewald, but it's also because there's nothing I like more in the world than pretty good relievers. That's my favorite thing in baseball.
You do. Yeah, you do.
I love pretty good relievers. So
now,
it's a hated class.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the tale of two stories now, too, because you have Jesse Winker, who we know is like the Mets villain right now. And you have Paul Sewald, who seems to maybe be a new Mets villain in Mets world. Although, again, I'm sure after tomorrow morning, everyone's going to forget about Paul Sewald. But not me. I'm still going to tweet out when he gives up nukes.
Paul Sewald is now suddenly a bigger Mets villain based on the sample size from the Mets'd podcast. We tweeted out 2 polls before we started recording here, and we're an hour into them. We asked Mets fans if they like, don't care, don't like, or hate Jesse Winker and Paul Sewald, and significantly more Mets fans hate Paul Sewald. Significantly. Only 5% of Mets fans in our poll, which, again, only got about 350 votes, so it's not like an indicative sample.
It's a pretty good sample, actually.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad at all, but only 5% of Mets fans hate Jesse Winker. If you asked this poll on Friday, it would have been like 90%.
Yeah.
People hated Jesse Winker, and all of a sudden, like now that people realize he was tongue-in-cheek for the last 3 years, now they like him. Like, all right, he was this the whole way. But it's just kind of funny how Mets fans love to get emotional. And we're embodying it right now.
No, it's actually pretty funny that 10% of Mets fans basically say they don't like Jesse Winker. Yes. For Paul Sewald, it's 50%. 50% of Mets fans do not like Paul Sewald. 32% don't care, which that's not liking to me. That means you don't like the guy, basically. And then 17% still like him, which that could, just be a little bit of people who honestly don't care. But it is funny that Winker gets the 65%. I like this guy. And like you said, all it took was one comment of him being like, I love playing here. I enjoy playing with this team. When's Jesse Winker a free agent, by the way?
This is his 4th year in the league, so I think after 2 more seasons.
Is Jesse Winker just doing a little bit of, homework, getting ready, preparing for when he hits the free agent market? Okay, 2024, yeah. He could be a decent left-handed bat that the Mets could get in a couple years, Buffalo guy.
Especially by that time, you could really undercut Winker because he's going to be a corner outfielder who plays no defense and can't move. You're basically able to get him for like 2 years, $25 million. Then
he'll be so cheap. He'll be sick. He'll be awesome for the Mets in a couple years.
Can't wait to underpay Jesse Winker. That's how we get him back for all this shit.
Of course. But yeah, it is interesting how the discourse has changed. I'm the same way. I like Jesse Winker even when he did this goodbye thing. I was like, damn, that's like evil. That's evil. That's so good. Like he plays like a heel. Where Paul Sewald to me is a whiny little bitch, and fuck Paul Sewald.
I'm not gonna say fuck Paul Sewald. I think he's just a guy having some fun, honestly. He probably doesn't like Mets fans, but he also probably has a reason not to like them. We gotta just finish this game because we've been talking a half hour about nonsense.
This was the big game though.
Yeah,
let's be honest. This is the one that everyone wanted to talk about. The Mets did attempt to come back.
Very well.
Very well. We talked about Escobar having the triple, Jeff McNeil single, Mazika single because Patrick Mazika is the boy.
Can I mention that Eduardo Escobar triple to start the rally in the 9th was after 14 consecutive Mets had been retired?
We love
5 full innings of Mets being retired in a row by the Mariners bullpen. That's and the end of Robbie Ray's start, which that's good, but it's not great. No. And they just got set up. They just got sat down repeatedly for almost literally 5 full innings, 14 consecutive Mets.
Yeah, when Robbie Ray
14 was consecutive Mets. I said Mets. Yeah, 14 consecutive Mets.
Yeah, and Robbie Ray was on the ropes for a lot of that too. But like you said, Eduardo Escobar triple, McNeil single, Mazika single, Nimmo slapped a double down the left field line. It doesn't matter how. Exit velos. What's that all about?
Hey, you analytics nerds, check this one out. Triple and a double by JD and Nimmo.
And all of a sudden, Drew Steckenrider's coming out of the game, and we get to see Diego Castillo, who's been just so horrendously bad this year. He's giving up a ton of hits, giving up a ton of walks, and Starling Marte comes to the plate and has just one of the worst at-bats I've seen Starling Marte ever have. He took a hanger down the middle on a slider, which I guess you're taking a strike. I don't like that. I think you should probably jump on Diego Castillo whenever you can, especially when he's given up tanks like he has been this year. And then he swings at 2 sliders that were basically not strikes, goes down on 3 pitches. They brought the infield in too with 1 out in 2nd and 3rd, which that's incorrect managing. That's wrong.
It's ballsy. It's a team that really is trying to get a win. That's probably why the Mariners have swung and actually lost a lot of these 1-run games this year after winning a lot of them last year, because kind of just the luck of the bounce. But I was very disappointed that Starling Marte at bat. And even though he has been hot, he is very good. He's hitting .333 in May with a .537 slug, which again, not really a sample, so those stats don't mean very much. But what they should tell you is that he's swinging the bat significantly better than he did in April. But even with that, I still harp on the fact that I I've said almost every episode of the show this season. I just don't think he's the two hitter for this team. Like I think this lineup should go Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso, and then you figure out the rest. I don't care basically the order the rest of the guys are in. That's how it should start, and I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, I think it's probably harder to convince people on that now, especially like he is playing really well in May. I think
For
there's
sure.
like no doubt about it. But the weird thing that
as he's playing really well, and this again, small 2-week sample, he's still not even getting on base at 350 clip.
Well, that's what I was about to say. The weird thing though is that he doesn't walk. He does not get on base. I think he has 2 walks in the month of May, maybe 1. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was hit by a pitch on one of those, which is kind of funny to say. But he is hitting for extra base hits. Granted, it's the Starling Marte way, which is a lot of like gap shots or down the line.
Sounds like a great cleanup hitter. So yeah, I would like Starling Marte in the 4 spot here. I want to get rid of the premonitions that your cleanup hitter has to be the biggest, strongest, fastest guy in the team, like Pete Alonso. And I want it to just be the 4th best hitter, because Starling Marte definitely might be that. But we're also seeing Starling Marte just not even attempt steals anymore, because I wouldn't want him attempting steals where Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso up. He will be more valuable as a base stealer if he moves lower in the order, and he's stealing bases with guys like J.D. Davis, Eduardo Escobar, Marc and Jeff McNeil at the plate. I think that is where Starling Marte can get the most value. I don't even think Starling Marte successfully stolen a base this year. Isn't he 0 for 4?
No, I think he got one. He's gotten a few. He's definitely had a few.
Maybe he's 4 for 8 then. I know he's 4 caught stealing.
Yeah, I think he's 4 for 8. I think he's 50%. But bat at bat, they then intentionally walk Francisco Lindor to load the bases, which I mean ended up working out. But that's another crazy decision. I know it's like get the out at any base, but that's nuts because like with a guy like Diego Castillo, who's wild and doesn't necessarily throw strikes all the time, you're really putting the pressure on your pitcher for no reason, especially when you add an open base.
Yeah, I think they were just scared of the lefty-righty thing with Lindor because the switch hitter. And also just if you look at like probably a single at-bat projection situation like that, even though Lindor hasn't been good for the last 2 weeks, I'm sure he's at least as likely as Alonso to get a hit. And then you just get the advantage with the righty-righty with Alonso. It just was crazy, especially because Diego Castillo is erratic. And he truthfully should have walked Pete Alonso if he didn't swing at a very, very bad 3-1 slider.
He threw 2 strikes his entire appearance, and they were 2 get-me-over hanging sliders that were first pitch strikes or first strikes for each of the batters. Otherwise, every other ball was not even relatively close. I think it was a 2-1 pitch to Pete, actually.
Yeah, okay. I remember it was the second strike.
Yeah, it was a 2-1 pitch. It wasn't a strike. I mean, his ball moves a lot. It's a lot easier said from our perspective of like,
for sure,
be swinging at that.
I didn't say he shouldn't have swung. I just said it was sad he did swing. Like,
yeah,
Diego Castillo is a disgusting pitcher. Like his slider is frightening, and his fastball is, as the kids like to say, heavy. It's a very heavy fastball. He has a frightening arsenal. It was just upsetting to see a guy like Pete, who had been swinging the ball really, really, really well, swinging the bat really, really, really well, to knock him through there. Because the way this Mets season has gone all year, the way Saturday night went, the way just all these games have gone late innings, the way this whole inning went, it just kind of felt like they were going to do it again. And we're almost like spoiled now as Mets fans for it not to have happened.
Yeah, it would have been better.
Be disappointed.
Would have been better to just lose that game 8-5.
Yeah, like that rally just it made me more upset.
Yeah, it made me hate Paul Sewald that much fucking more. God damn it, Paul Sewald.
Oh man. All right, let's jump back ahead now.
Yeah, let's jump back to game 1. Game 1, it's just frustrating. Yeah. Super boring, super like
we were there.
We were there. We can't hit Marco Gonzalez. He's a soft contact. Well, I called him soft contact king. What did you call him?
I soft contact artisan. He's not a king. He's not the merchant. He's in between them.
Yeah, he makes fancy soft contact.
He does some soft contact well, but it's not consistent. It's not all the time. But when he does. Marco Gonzalez, you kind of look at his game log for his career, it's hilarious because basically once a month he'll have a start like this where he goes like 7 or 8 innings and gives up nothing, and he'll go 3 and give up 6. Then he'll just be like quality starts like 6 and 3 every other time. Like he is a hilarious pitcher, a very stable, steady veteran who like had some prospect appeal. And I realized this after he even recorded last week. He was traded 1-for-1 for Tylor Megill about 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's a crazy trade.
And Tylor Megill was a prospect with pedigree, so it kind of goes to show the way that Gonzalez at least was regarded back then, and just the role that he fills because he's really annoying. He stays around the strike zone, and he just pitches well sometimes. This also was really frustrating because this was like the 4th game this week, including games that happened after the fact. So I'm going to count it, where the Mets got off to a hot start in the first inning, and the bat just completely fell apart. Just nothing happened after that. Nimmo had an infield hit to lead off the game. Starling Marte scored a double down the line. And then we only scored 1 run with 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. Like that just can't happen. Eduardo Escobar had a really rough strikeout. Marc just couldn't come through with 2 outs, which I'm not blaming Marc for that. But the Escobar strikeout was like quick work. It was like 3 pitches. Like someone walked in front of me in the section And I missed almost every single pitch of the at-bat. And he was already going back to dugout. I was like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, I mean, early in the series, we saw Escobar was hitting higher in the lineup. Obviously, now he's probably got to hit 8th every game, right in front of the catcher spot if he's going to be in the lineup, just because he's really not offering anything at the plate right now. This game in particular, he killed us. It felt like he had at-bat after at-bat where he could have came through, and he just couldn't for us, and it sucks because Max Scherzer was really good again, because Max Scherzer is a really good pitcher.
Really good. And we talk about this all the time, but like Max Scherzer's floor is like 6 or 7 innings with almost a strikeout per inning and like less than 3 runs. And he did that again. 6 strikeouts, 3 hits, 2 walks, 1 earned. A couple rallies he worked out of late in this outing. Really started out the game smoothly. Just stupid Jesse Winker got that freaking 2-out hit against him that basically we have ignited Jesse Winker's season now. Like, I can't wait for him to go on a tear because I have him on a lot of fantasy teams. I can't wait for him because I drafted him before he got traded to stupid Seattle from Great American Ballpark. But it sucks that it really felt like he played up to like all the shit with the fans, and it kind of like motivated him to do better. And it gets started with a big 2-out single off of Scherzer, and that was like the 4th or 5th inning. I remember we were running around the stadium at this point. That was like 4th or 5th inning on Friday. But just it was cool to see Max kind of like work on a new toy. He's always thrown this kind of like back. It's not a back foot cutter because the cutter doesn't move as much as a slider. It's a back thigh cutter, as Pitching Ninja coined it this weekend. He threw him a lot. He got a really cool strikeout, J.P. Crawford, with it. And then he also, after that Jesse Winker hit, something I alluded to before, he just sent Julio Rodriguez to school with a couple of changeups low in the zone. Just made him swing out of his shoes. But that Winker single did tie the game. And while Scherzer only did give up that 1 run, he was visibly upset with himself that he did do that. But good on him to work out some late rallies there and keep the game at least tied afterwards. Just the only problem was that Marco Gonzalez was cruising and we couldn't touch him.
Yeah, just couldn't touch him. Like, very uncompetitive at bats against a guy who, I guess he's kind of everything that the Mets hate, right? Lefty, we don't hit lefties well. Yeah. Soft tosser, don't hit him well. And he throws a ton of strikes. So we can't use one of the things that goes to our advantage, which is walking. That's one of the things that the Mets, I mean, they're like one of the best teams in baseball at getting on base.
I think they're the highest on base percentage in the whole league.
But for a soft tossing lefty who throws strikes, it's kind of like this weird perfect storm of like the Mets can't do it. But also, that's got to stop. Yeah, they have to just learn how to hit this, because really, in all honesty, there's nothing that Marco Gonzalez does that you go, oh yeah, I understand why we aren't hitting this guy. It's just, like you said, it happens once a month. We just happen to be that team this time.
It's frustrating, but guys like Marco Gonzalez, like the lifeblood of this game of baseball that we've loved for 100 years now. He just comes out, he throws innings, and just he gets out of it somehow. But like, this was such like the Mets only gave up 4 hard hit balls this entire game to the Mariners. J.D. Davis had 3 on his own without a single base hit. Yeah. Like, it's so crazy that these guys hit the ball well. Starling Marte had 2. Alonso had 2. One that we're going to talk about in a second because it was one of the most egregious things I've ever seen. Lindor, Nimmo, Escobar each had 1. McNeil even had 2. Tomas Nido chipped in with a hit. All these things happened, and just somehow the balls were finding gloves, and the Mets couldn't break through against Marco Gonzalez or Paul Sewald. So this is when all the action started, because he got a big 2-out strikeout of Starling Marte after Brandon Nimmo double late in this game, which is another, again, run scoring opportunity. Starling Marte is a good hitter, but the situations like that, I really like our better hitters pushed up to the top.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you want the Lindor hitting 2 thing. I was like, who do we go there? But I forgot you just move everybody up.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see, I want to take a look at this as we're kind of talking here, what Starling Marte is doing against sliders this year. I know like it's kind of hard because no one really hits sliders well, which is why everybody throws sliders now. But Sewald, slider guy, Diego Castillo, slider guy, and we saw him kind of have horrendous at-bats against both of them. Okay, so looking at Starling Marte against sliders this year, I'm just going to rattle off some baseball savant numbers. Surely they have meaning. -2 run value, small sample, whatever. He's seen
surely
80,
they have meaning.
Yeah, surely. He's seen 89 sliders this year, which is 15% of the time. He's hitting 115 against sliders, 192 slugging, 165 WOBA, a whiff rate of 35%, K rate 23%, hard hit rate of 20. It is like the worst pitch. He has that and cutters. He has no clue how to hit, it seems like. Granted, they're hard pitches to hit, for sure.
And Paul Sewald has a very, very good slider. It's one of the better ones in this whole game.
Yeah, so it kind of, I guess, makes sense as to why maybe he looks so foolish against these last 2 guys. But, oh, man, it really would have been nice if he came through one time in these spots. That being said, he did play well in every other at-bat, it seemed like, this series.
It's funny. His only 2 bad at-bats this whole series were situations where you were trying to bring a man in for a big run, which sucks. Yeah. That sucks, but it did happen. We also playing great ball, though.
Yeah, no, he is playing good ball in the month of May. We also had like the unfortunate come to earth realization with Drew Smith. Gave up a run, couple hits, was getting squeezed, or not, I shouldn't say a couple hits, a couple walks because he was getting squeezed. Yeah, and then he gave up the hit, obviously, that ended up giving them the 2-1 lead. It was frustrating just because it's like, we know Drew Smith's good. He still is good, by the way. We haven't lost any faith in Drew Chains, but oh, damn it.
But I do want to say that I was proud of our boy Drew after this performance because he gave up back-to-back walks and then a single to make it first and third, nobody out, and a man already in. And he just went apeshit after that and didn't allow the Mariners to get even one more base run of the rest of this inning. So even though he did blow the lead, his first earned run of the entire season at the time, it was cool that he kind of showed some fight and some real mettle to keep the game where it was, just kind of showing us again where his top end is.
First and third, one out. Really, really good chance.
With the run in.
Yeah, with the run in.
Chance
really,
to break it open.
Yeah, I was about to say the game could have just been completely over there. Kept us in the game still, despite blowing it, but kept us in the game. And I mean, let's wrap this game up here. We have to talk about the Pete Alonso non-home run, which is disgusting. Disgusting. Rob Manfred should be thrown in jail for this.
Yeah,
the fact that Pete Alonso,
jail. He should be thrown to the East River.
Put him in Guantanamo Bay, whatever it is. Send him to Guam. I don't know. That feels like a place that could maybe be prison. Like, I mean,
I think Guam is actually beautiful.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking Guantanamo Bay. Maybe
I think
maybe
Guatemala. I heard Guatemala's rough with the cartel.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous.
Running roughshod down there.
But 103.4 X velo and 32-degree launch angle is a barrel, by all means. Mm-hmm. It is a barrel. And the ball was caught, 15 feet short of the wall? I mean, that ball should be out at every stadium, anywhere you hit it. Center field, right center. If it's at Fenway Park with the crazy center field there, that should be a home run. If the Astros still had the hill in center field, it should be a home run there. And it wasn't even close. What did they do to these fucking balls? We saw it today. It was a nicer day. It was hotter and it was sunny and the ball was traveling more today. Yeah. Maybe it's something where, because like the humidor and all this nonsense that they've decided to throw into the game, all of a sudden, once the arbitration and extra money came in for the players, all this stuff is starting to happen to limit offense, which we know is going to limit the money. Maybe when it's hotter, these balls dry out quicker and they'll fly more.
That was Saris and Ken Rosenthal's hypothesis from an Athletic article from about 2 weeks ago. And you have seen that in some of the hotter cities already. Like San Diego has become a massive hitter's park, which is kind of hilarious based on how that much has turned in the last few years. And also this game on Friday night was bizarre weather. It was like the whole game was just like a very steady 60 degrees and wet, just like kind of misty and humid and just thick air. Great situations to pitch in, just bad situations for flight of balls. And also I did a little quick savant query on a similar type of ball and play like this, between 103 and 104 mile an hour exit velocity and between 32 and 33 degrees launch angle in play at Citi Field since 2015. It happened 14 other times before Friday night. 12 of them are home runs and 2 of them are outs.
That's crazy.
So incredibly unlikely that a ball hit with those exact parameters wouldn't go out of Citi Field, even though, again, the ball wasn't pulled. Balls that are pulled, even with lower exit velocity, a better chance of going out of the park. And it was the deepest part of Citi Field. So sure, whatever. But I stood up when this ball left the bat and was jumping up and down screaming. And I let out a profanity-laced tirade when it was caught. Very much scared Ellen Adair, who was sitting in our section. Really scared the crap out of her. Ellen Adair from Homeland. And she looked at me like I had 8 heads. She was like, that's a crazy person. I don't want to sit near him in any games ever again, which is warranted because I probably said things about Rob Manfred that I wouldn't wish upon like international criminals.
I think I stood up and gave one of these. I gave a fist pump into the ground like, let's go. And then no, what?
This is also the nature of playing a team like the Mariners, who just are addicted to one-run games. Every single one of these games could have been won or lost by both teams. Yep. Like all of these games could have been a sweep for the Mets or Mariners, or Mariners 2-1, or the Mets 2-1. Every single option was in play until literally the 8th inning of every single game. Every single game hung in the balance, and just these tiny things like that cost them, and that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, game 2 even, now that we're done with game 1. Yeah, and that goes back to like game 2 even now, which was chaos. It was nuts. It was crazy. It was also a weird night. We had the rain delay. We had the spritzing going on all night. Another wet night because Seattle seemingly brought their weather with them when they came to New York, which please go away. Don't bring this weather anymore. It is beautiful today. You know what the coincidence is? Seattle's leaving. They're getting the hell out of New York. So please just stop bringing this weather with you. It was chaos. I was sitting with the 7 Line. Shout out to them for the tickets. Always a ton of fun. Got on TV again, by the way. So
nice. Yeah,
superstar over here. It was a crazy game though, from start to finish. Like everything in this game, again, like you were talking about, everything was hanging in the balance. I wasn't able to really relax much in this one.
No, I mean, I don't know how you could have. Like from the get-go, it was just, again, this was a chaos baseball game. I like that the Mets have in the range of outcomes to play these every once in a while because chaos baseball is fun. I just don't really that much enjoy like being a part of it.
No, I want easy wins. I want, like, maybe they won't do as well for episodes. Maybe we won't get as many listens, but I love an easy win. I love coasting and being like, wow, no stress, easy. They won 5-0. How about that? There was never a chance that they could win this game. Like, that's what I strive for. This game was not that. We did get out early, though. We had a 4-0 lead. And
all 3 games, the Mets scored in the first inning. All 3 games of the series, the Mets scored the run in the first inning. All 3. And that is happening, of course, when Starling Marte is hot and Brandon Nimmo stays scorching hot. Nimmo did get a hit. So now Nimmo's hit streak is 12 games. The on-base streak is 26 games.
I think 26 or 27. Yeah, he's so fucking
freaky good. And Francisco Lindor getting off the schneid had 2 RBIs in his first 3 at-bats on Saturday. So starting to look good. Things felt good. And then even with the offense playing well early, Chris Bassitt, once again, freaking fantastic, quickly becoming literally one of my favorite players in all of baseball. 5 super clean innings, and he got some trouble in the 6th. That happened, but didn't give up any extra base hits through 5 2/3 against a good team in the Mariners. 8 strikeouts, which is one of the higher rates I've seen from Bassett this year, even especially not even completing 6 innings. 3 walks, 5 hits, 1 earned. Again, I have really just come to enjoy these Bassett games because from a pure pitching perspective, he does so many interesting, cool things on the mound. Like, he threw 6 different pitches in this game at least 10% of the time.
Yeah, that's what he does.
It's unbelievable. Like, the best pitchers in baseball ever history have not been able to do things like that. 5 of them got whiffs, all except his changeup. And he got 25% whiffs overall, 32% called in swinging strikes. He was just so calm and in control. There weren't even that many 1, 2, 3 innings. Like, there were always base runners here and there, but I never felt very nervous that Bassett was going to let anything happen.
Extend Bassett, baby. Extend Bassett. Keep him here for a little bit because he's a very, very good pitcher. He was also working with Patrick Mazeika for the first time. Patrick Mazeika caught him in spring, but for those of you who don't know, typically the pitcher decides what pitch is being thrown in a spring training bullpen. Fastball, curveball. He gives the signs with the glove when he's out there, doing warm-ups in the bullpen. On the field, it's a little bit different, but they weren't using PitchCom. And the first inning of this game took 50 minutes, and I think it was 2 hours in, and we were in the 5th inning. It was a long game, a lot of stepping off, a lot of trying to figure out the signs, a lot of this and that. And despite working with a new catcher who we definitely wasn't comfortable with, they were, talking in between every inning. He did a great job. He really, nutted up, to say that I have a really bad terminology, but he nutted up, pitched really well. And then Lugo to come in when there was a little bit of trouble. Talk about nutting up too. He came in and got some big outs for us when there were guys on base in the 6th. Also, shout out to Buck. That's what you're supposed to do with bullpen. Huge moment in the game. Could have changed the outlook, and he went to one of the best relievers. That's the kind of stuff that we want to see, not trying to extend guys to get extra outs because we're trying to push forward to get more innings because of Monday.
True, but the irony is that even after getting, I don't know if it was the last out of the 6th or the last 2, it was getting to the last out of the 6th, he did come back out for the 7th, which I don't hate because Seth Lugo kind of has to be able to get 4 outs as one of the better relievers in this bullpen, so I'm not chastising Buck for this, but it's something that happened where suddenly J.P. Crawford and Eugenio Suarez got back-to-back singles, and then you have to take Lugo out of the game because a talented left-handed hitter in Jesse Winker's coming up, and this son of a gun just roped a home run to make a game that was suddenly felt out of reach throughout to becoming tied in the blink of an eye at 4-4.
Jesse Winker watched that ball. He absolutely demolished it too. He demolished it. Did you see Chasen Shreve shouting at him?
No, I didn't even notice.
Oh, Shreve was screaming at him because he watched it. He admired it. And Chasen Shreve was telling him, get the fuck on. Run the fucking bases. He was so hot. And I don't even think that was like I don't like that you watched it. I think that was more so Chasen Shreve was hot that he just gave up a home run. And then that's just one of those things where it's a little thing bothered you and you just fucking lose it. You snap. And I think that's what it was because, the Mets have watched some home runs. You got some guys on the team that will look at them. I didn't find anything wrong with that.
On Sunday.
Yeah, and good also, job. Winker, man, great villain, waving goodbye after he hit the home run again. He knows his brand. He's really good at it. Again, can't wait till he's in Queens in a couple years, but
it's so easy to impress Mets fans, though. He's just such an asshole, and then he just oh yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. And Mets fans are oh, we like you now too.
Well, because he doesn't hate us. He just plays up to what we're booing him. He's like, all right, fine. You want me to be the bad guy? I will be.
I bet he did kind of hate them at first. That first time, 2018 or 2019, when he wasn't even good, and he made a lucky sliding catch. That was the whole reason all this even started.
And the home run bad teams. The home run off of Diaz too. That's what he did. But I think he said even after that game that he was getting so much shit from the fans that he was like, I'm going to wave goodbye to them because we just won. He never said anything about I don't like these guys. And I remember the next time they came, even the next year, he was signing baseballs for all the Mets fans. And he was excited. He saw the signs. He loved them. Like, he has fun. That's why I like him more than that rat, Paul Sewald.
He's also a Rangers fan. We saw him cheering the Ranger goals that were being broadcast in the Jumbotron during Friday night's game. We're recording this moments before Rangers game 7. I'm excited
Buffalo
to
guy.
watch that. Yeah, so it's kind of cool that. But now we've gone somehow 50 minutes of this episode without mentioning Patrick Luino and the legend that was born out of your I don't even know what to call it. Out of your decisions here. You named the kid, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, congratulations to me.
Yeah.
Whenever the baby comes, his name will be Patrick, which is a real Italian Greek name right there, Patrick.
No, yeah, good. That's a good Catholic boy.
Yeah, it's a good name right there, Patrick Luino. Rolls off the tongue.
I wonder what union he's going to be in.
I have no idea, but I was sitting with the 7 line, and of course, everyone's having drinks. Everyone's feeling good. I'm sitting next to Zappa, if he's listening to this. Was talking to him. Andres Munoz comes into the game for, if you guys don't know, we mentioned him in the last episode. Guy throws like 102 with a devastating slider.
Gross.
And I was going, yeah, this guy's unhittable. Great. We got Patrick Megill going up against Andres Munoz. I wonder who's going to win this one. This guy can't be touched. And he goes, well, not from Megill. Clearly being tongue-in-cheek, like making a joke. He's like, he's going to hit a home run. And I immediately go, if Patrick Megill hits a home run, I'll name my firstborn Patrick. He's like, tweet it. I put out the tweet, and as soon as I hit send, crack of the bat, and I go, ah! Did he just hit a home run? And everyone's freaking out. I was celebrating. Of course, the video the 7 line made, that was like 2 different reactions, but it was great. Great content by all means.
That was one of the best. Is that a TikTok? Was that a TikTok?
Yeah, I think he did Instagram and Twitter.
That was one of my favorite TikToks I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good. But my reaction after the celebration of, oh my God, was, oh my God. That's on Twitter. That is public. I could have told Zappa, the guy sitting next to me, and maybe never seen him again, and no one would have known. I put it on Twitter, and within 5 minutes had like 1,000 likes. Patrick Megill retweeted it after the game, which I think is really funny. So if we ever get him on the podcast, definitely have to bring that up at some point and let him know that he's the reason why my I didn't even say son. Firstborn name is Patrick.
It's a pretty name for a girl.
Patricia, you think I could slide with Patricia for that one?
I think the people let you slide with Patricia, and
but
this also just adds to the folk legend of Patrick Megill, who was up last year, had multiple walk-off hits that didn't leave the infield, and now after a game that's felt like the Mets were letting get away from them, after a game that got away from them on Friday, ahead of a pitching matchup where they were at a clear disadvantage on Sunday, he swooped in and saved the day against literally one of the scariest relievers in all of baseball. So it just adds to it, man. Like, I love this guy. He's insane. Just a great player to have on the roster.
Dude, and he's wearing number 4. Wilmer Flores' his old number. There's something with that number 4. And it's like special.
He's a lefty. We kind of have kind of glossed over the fact that that's kind of a really valuable platoon partner for a Major League Baseball team. If he can hit. Again, he didn't hit that well in AAA this year, but I could see a guy like Megill who got a taste of the Major League Baseball juices to now be down AAA and kind of just longing for that opportunity again. If he can even hit a little bit, if he can have a league average OPS, which is about 670, he'll be an actually valuable asset as he fills in for James McCann.
Dude, it's kind of funny too, because you talk about like going down AAA. He knows that the only way he's getting called up to on this team is if someone goes down with an injury. Yeah. So it's almost like for him, try not to get hurt. Like, because if I'm hurt and one of them gets hurt, it's not going to be me. I can't get called up. But if I'm healthy, it's me. I'm the next guy up. Glad that he got called up. He had a hit in the game 3 today too. Like, he swings the bat. Okay. Gary on the broadcast goes, is it disrespectful to say that his swing's real funny looking? Like, and Keith's like, I don't think it's disrespectful. You're telling the truth. It is a little funny. Like, I don't understand how he hits because he changes his eye level as the pitch comes, which is insanely hard to do. He goes from like all the way up here to way down low, but he caught all that one against Andres Munoz. And now my firstborn's name is Patrick Luino. And I have a great meme that I'll be able to use in 5 years, whatever I have a child, and I can tweet out a picture of the baby and go, meet Patrick. Like,
you're gonna have a child in 5 years.
I'm 26. I have no idea. 30, 31. That seems fair.
Yes, you got a lot of maturing to do in the next 5 years.
Oh, for sure. I'm not. I didn't say 26-year-old Marc Luino's doing this.
you got to come back from 2 bags of chips a day to 1.
2027. I don't know what the world's going to look like then.
Oh, God. Can't even talk about this. But main story, how we ended this game. Edwin Diaz, first and only appearance he made this series against his former team. Absolutely gassed up the Seattle Mariners, struck out the side in one of the most impressive innings I've ever seen Edwin Diaz throw, culminating in a wonderful strikeout of Jesse Winker to end this game after a nice long at-bat.
After he hung one, too, and he hit it about 400 feet foul, to which my heart dropped. I was, No, like he did it again. No way. But luckily we got him out. When Diaz was coming out for, coming into the game, all the Mariners bullpen guys came out and started watching the festivities. I've never seen that before. They were
Really?
like, I gotta see what this action's all about. Paul Sewald, that rat, he was the first one out there watching it. So I'm so confused what's going on with this guy.
Dude, relievers are a persecuted class, man. To fellow relievers, especially guys in that Seattle organization, they probably hear folk tales about Edwin Diaz, his heroics through the years. The guy's a legend. He's one of the better relievers in baseball. That organization developed him. Like he has like one of the best walkout songs literally in the sport. Like he is something to watch.
We had high school friends at the game last night. Shout out to Sanjay, if he's listening to this, who had not been to a Mets game ever. And I was like, dude, if Edwin Diaz gets in the game, get ready. Talk about an atmosphere. It's going to be electric. And he did. So I hope Sanjay enjoyed it. I didn't see him after the game, but I mean, you can't ask for anything better than those trumpets.
No, nothing at all. And this now in a topsy-turvy way wrapped up the series. We talked about 2 losses followed by the 1 win. Just that's kind of a nice thing to keep Mets fans feeling semi-optimistic because the Mets didn't really play poorly in the series. Some things went their way. Some things didn't go their way. And this isn't really a series loss that we can say that we're going to like the sky is falling. It's really just the fact that we did lose a series. Now we can't say it. The Mets haven't lost a series yet this year. That's the only real disappointing thing about this. And we have a very big series coming up that we need to stay focused for.
Yeah, it's kind of like the college basketball thing. Like you don't want to be undefeated too long into the season.
No.
You gotta get the loss out early because that way you can be focused on winning again and not worried about being perfect. The Mets, we lost a series. It's to a Mariners team that is better than their record indicates. I think they're a pretty good ball club. A lot of people expect them to be a playoff contender this year, and I'm sure they're going to improve as the season goes on. It just stinks because again, we could have swept this series. We could have gotten swept this series. Every game was decided by 1 run, and the Mets were just on the wrong side of it for the first time all year, which that's going to happen.
Yeah, bounce of the ball, crack of the bat. Like, those things happen. This is baseball, Susan. That's it. And again, I want to reiterate that the Mets have a very big series that is starting later today on Monday against, you want to say 4 games?
4 games
against the St. Louis Cardinals. First 2 games this series are going to have Trevor Williams and Taijuan Walker, so it's going to be an all-hands-on-deck type of series against a team that we literally had a fight with 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We did have the fight. How did I forget about that? Oh, this is going to be fun.
It's going to be really fun.
This is going to be fun. All right, so pitching matchups. Give it to us real quick. You said Trevor Williams, Taijuan Walker. Who are they going up against?
Trevor Williams against Miles Mikolas. So Mikolas really got a hold of us last time. I really hope that we saw something and are able to get to him this time. And Taijuan Walker against old friend Steven Matz, making his return to Citi Field. Very, very interested to see how Steven is received by the Queens faithful. Then Wednesday, game I'm going to, Max Scherzer versus Jordan Hicks. Should be really, really, really cool. We got to Jordan Hicks last time. Max Scherzer crushed the Cardinals last time. I like that. And then Thursday, ESPN, day game, 1 o'clock. Chris Bassitt versus Dakota Hudson.
So it's a nationally televised game, so you can expect the bouncy balls to be back.
That's true, actually. That's pretty cool against Dakota Hudson, too. I like that. But this is good. Actually, isn't Dakota Hudson a ground ball merchant?
Yeah, he's a ground ball guy.
Shit. But I'm not even going to say that the Cardinals have pitching advantages in the series because they're not really throwing that interesting of pitchers. Luckily, in 4 games, we're missing Adam Wainwright. Thank the fucking heavens that we're not facing Adam Wainwright because he would just demolish the Mets.
Not once this year.
Oh, yeah, God. But that also means that last time from the end of last year when he shut the Mets down for 8 innings, that's going to be the last time he faced them in his career, which that makes me upset. I wish he was getting a start just so we can send him out against the Mets at a bad note because he's had their number forever. But it's going to be very important for the Mets to bounce back off this first series loss and get a hold of the Cardinals in the series, especially when they're going to be at a significant disadvantage on Monday's game with Trevor Williams and a bullpen game going against Miles Mikolas, who he's the best pitcher the Cardinals are throwing the series. I can say that relatively.
Yeah, I think he would have to be, and he's having a pretty good year. So, I mean, we've seen him have success before, the Lizard King, because he ate an actual live lizard, which nobody knows about. I've told many people, like, in baseball, and they had absolutely no clue. Absolutely wild dude. Hopefully we smack him around. Would love to just – the Cardinals are so annoying, especially with the fight and everything. Keep an eye out. I don't think we're done there. I think there might be a little bit of something going on. I wouldn't be surprised if the first pitch to Brandon Nimmo, comes a little close in game 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. But actually, probably not with Mikolas because he's a guy they're probably counting on for length in this series. I could see them getting at with someone later in the series, possibly reliever late in the game. But the Cardinals are playing on Sunday Night Baseball. When you're listening to this, the Cardinals already played on Sunday Night Baseball. You guys know how that game ended, but we were going to save that one. So they are going to have to travel after a late game, which I guess that's a tiny little bit of an advantage.
Are they in St. Louis?
in St. Louis. Yes.
Okay,
Not
so it's not a red eye from San Francisco to New York. That would have been huge.
It's probably going to be a red eye from St. Louis to New York.
I mean, yeah, it still is, but
Yeah,
a
it's going to be a red eye no matter what. Yeah, just a
Oh,
couple 3 hours less of travel, of course. But that's something. Just looking for an advantage, and I have a new Cardinal to watch the series. A guy who was not on the team the last time we played them, but who has become a staple of their lineup since. Juan Yepez.
Oh yeah.
Longtime underrated prospect. One of those guys who just doesn't really look like an all-star baseball hitter. He's not really the tallest. He's not really the strongest. He's not a very good defender. He's just not one of those, like, got a baseball body kind of guys. And he's never really had a home, especially because he was a third baseman, first baseman coming up in the system. And of course, the Cardinals have Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado there. But as the Cardinals have been seeking offense, they started Corey Dickerson like 30 games in the first 5 weeks of the season, which is just malpractice. Yepez has come up. He's DH. He's been playing a lot of left field for them. And he's 13 for his first 37 in the pros with 2 home runs. The guy can really swing it. He is a true hitter. He's a little bit older of a prospect, so there are not going to be as many growing pains, I suspect, with his transition here. And he's a guy who's already up to the cleanup spot in this Cardinals lineup consistently.
Yeah, he's a guy that you told me about last year who was on your radar. Looked into him, watched him play, go, oh yeah, this guy's a hitter. He's a really, really talented hitter at the plate. And also, Ryan Helsley, right? He's still on the roster? He's not hurt?
Yeah, we didn't talk about Ryan Helsley. Ryan Helsley throws like 102 miles an hour and is running a basically 50% K rate so far this season, which is really, really, really good. We
basically the only guy giving Edwin Diaz right now, like the run for the money, is like the best reliever in baseball right now, like this season statistically.
Yes, statistically. I mean, Josh Hader. We can't forget about Josh Hader. Josh Hader is hands down the best reliever in baseball. But Helsley is kind of disgusting. The Cardinals just also find a reliever basically every year, no more, no less. And it's not usually guys who always have like the most staying power. Gallegos has to have some staying power. What's the guy's fucking who's Reyes? Anthony Reyes? Same as Anthony Reyes? Alex Reyes came on hot last year, then he fell apart and now he's on the IL.
Elizabeth, New Jersey, played full count baseball, a year older than I was, but I got to catch a bullpen next to him throwing one, and I was terrified. I was scared.
That does sound scary. But the Cardinals are a talented team who play fundamental baseball and do not make many mistakes. Let's play better than them, and let's win this series 3-1 and put this team out of its misery and open up a nice sizable lead over them for what could be a team that we're competing with, depending on how the rest of the season goes, for either seeding or for wild card spot. Very important to win these games against the Cardinals, a team, again, we are directly competing against for the National League playoff spots.
Yeah, with all these wild card spots now, these games, even though they aren't in division, they are just as important because you, like you said, you are literally competing with them for spots right now. And there's a lot more spots than there have been in the past. Just swing the bats. The Mets have been swinging the bats better. It seems like with the warmer weather, these balls move a little bit more. And it seems like that has been pretty, conducive to how the Mets have been playing. Just stay hot. Let's play smart. Let's play good. Keep pitching well. And hopefully, game by game, we get some wins out here against St. Louis. But I think that's going to be a perfect way for us to wrap up episode number 92 of the Mets'd podcast. If you guys are not yet following us on our social media at Mets'd, you'll be able to find us as well as on the YouTube channel, Mets'd podcast. Follow James on Twitter at Jeter Had No Range. Follow me at Giraffe Neck Marc. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, follow, subscribe, rating, review, whatever you got to do. Make sure you don't miss the next episode because it's going to be a banger after this Cardinal series. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Thanks for listening.